Hey everybody, how's it going? So, this is going to be fun. Absolutely. This is one of my favorite franchises in horror and one of my favorite voice actings in a horror movie or franchise ever. And we're, of course, talking about the Child's Play franchise and good old Killer Chucky, man. Like, what can you even say about Chucky nowadays? Like, absolutely iconic and absolutely infamous, iconic horror character. Like, he is the killer doll. Like, anyone asks somebody, like, name a killer doll, or the subject that comes up for some reason, Chucky immediately is the first thing that comes to mind. And there were a bunch of movies before '88 when this movie came out, the first one, that had like killer dolls or possessed dolls and stuff like that. Like even 2 years before this, Stuart Gordon, I think it was '86, right? Stuart Gordon's movie Dolls was just 2 years before this. And then we have all the way back to this trilogy of terror with Karen Black. And what a great last segment that is, with the Zuni doll, with the killer Zuni doll, and trying to kill her and stuff, and running around with the fucking knife and everything. That's such a great segment. I mean, the first two in Trilogy of Terror, not that memorable, but everybody who's seen that movie remembers that last segment with the Zuni doll and Karen Black. Like, awesome. But Chucky, man, I mean, he is the quintessential killer doll in horror or in any film. Like, there's not really many killer dolls outside of the horror genre, but so that didn't really make sense. But whatever, you know what I mean. But and I attribute a lot of that to Brad Dourif. I mean, he absolutely brought this character, this doll, to life, like figuratively speaking. Like, I can't picture anybody else doing the voice for Chucky except for Brad Dourif, which is a big reason, not the only one. I had many, many gripes with the movie, with the remake, but that was a big reason that I did not care for the remake at all. Even though Mark Hamill, is a great voice actor. I mean, look what he did with the Joker and stuff like that, doing the voice acting for that. It was excellent. But it's fucking back, dude. Right before I started this video, there was a fucking fly, a loud as shit fly, flying around this room. And I tried getting it out of here. I opened the door, fucking tried to let it fly out, tried to trick it and everything and stuff. And then I thought I killed it. And then I said to myself, watch, it's like 5 minutes into this or so, it's gonna start buzzing around and shit. So now you're gonna see me swatting shit this whole fucking video. Fucking annoying as hell, man. But yeah, like, just the whole performance that Dourif gives as the voice of Chucky is just, you can't hear Brad Dourif's voice without hearing Chucky. Like, you can. Like, at least I can. Like, anything else that Dourif is in, as soon as he opens his mouth, it's fucking Chucky's voice coming out. And just like the way he handled this character and this doll and stuff, of just like his laugh and his cackling and just everything, the way he delivers all his lines and stuff in this whole franchise is just brilliant to me. Like, Brad Dourif is a fucking legend, man. You know, like, he really is. And something I didn't know until right before rewatching this movie just now is they actually Tom Holland cast Jessica Walter as the voice for Chucky. Jessica Walter is the late great Jessica Walter, who was Lucille Bluth in my favorite comedy show, Arrested Development. I never knew that. I thought that was so interesting to hear, and they actually like recorded all her lines and stuff as Chucky, and they had a test screening and everything, and it did kind of negatively, and they thought that one of the reasons was that even though Walter did a good job with the voice and everything, it sounded like menacing, but like it didn't have like the comedic tone to it, which a lot of people with this franchise, they say, with Bride of Chucky is when the tone shifted to comedy and stuff. And yeah, it did a lot more, comedy and stuff from then on. But there's still comedy throughout this whole franchise, right from this first film. Like, there's definitely some funny shit that Chucky says, or just other characters and stuff. Like, there's definitely comedy dating back to this first movie in the franchise. But let's talk about Child's Play, 1988, directed by the great Tom Holland and Don Mancini, man, like, who created this whole story and characters and everything, is a genius. Like, I absolutely love Don Mancini. Like, there's nothing this guy touches that's not gold. Like, nothing. Like, this whole series. I love every entry in the franchise, and yes, including Seed of Chucky. I think it's hilarious. Like, every film in this franchise, except for the remake, which I really disliked. But since Mancini's not attached to that or anything, just pretend it never happened. And even the TV series, the Chucky season 1 was excellent, and I cannot wait for season 2 at the end of the year. In October, I think it's coming out, like around Halloween or something like that. Can't wait. So let's dive into this. So we have the Chicago PD. Mike Norris is chasing after Charles Lee Ray, the Lakeshore Strangler serial killer, and shoots him and like basically mortally wounds him with the gunshot. And he breaks into this toy store. And this is a great thing about this franchise, is that even though this is a favorite franchise of mine, it's so fun that it's a great franchise that I can do my thing and tear it apart and just have a blast just like pointing out ridiculous things in this whole franchise, because this whole franchise is absolutely insane. Like, absolutely ridiculous. But it's so fun. Like, how can you not love Child's Play? Like, I don't think I know many people who dislike Chucky or this whole franchise. I know people who dislike certain movies in it and everything, but like certain installments, but not many people I know, horror fans and stuff, like especially big horror fans, talk negatively about especially the first Child's Play movie, or the first 3 at least. But interesting. But goes into this toy store, and how big is this fucking toy store? Like, they can't find each other. Like, Norris can't find Charles in this fucking toy store. It's not that big. Like, we see the exterior of it, like when Charles Lee Ray shoots the lock open and breaks in. It's not big. Like, it's not like a fucking Toys R Us where it's like a big ass warehouse and stuff, and like you can get lost in there trying to find someone. It's like a mom and pop toy store. Like, you could probably throw a rock and hit Charles in the head. Like, but yet he can't find him, and he's fucking walking around bleeding and everything and dying and stuff, and he's even screaming shit out at Mike and everything like that, and like he can't just hear his voice and be like, oh well, he's over there. Like, I don't know. That's fucking stupid to me. That's so weird that he can't find him in this little ass toy store. Like, I don't know. But then we get the lightning and stuff, which looks so bad. Like the lightning through the you know what I mean, the window in the ceiling or whatever, looks so bad. And then when the lightning strikes, and it basically, like, it hits Mike. Like, he gets struck by lightning. It flies through the air, then this whole place explodes, and he just stands up, and he's like, fine. Like, that makes no sense at all, dude. He should be dead. Like, right then and there, like, from the beginning of the movie. Like, absolutely fucking dead. Like, he's struck by lightning, and then blown up, but yet he has like not a scratch on him, like besides like a little like thing on his face or whatever. That's it. Like, the whole voodoo phrase that Charles uses to get into the doll and everything, and that is a reoccurring thing throughout the whole franchise. Ade Dewey Dembala, this is the power I beg of you, or give me the power I beg of you. Yeah, I fucked that up. But that always bothered me. That is this supposedly this voodoo chant or voodoo power and stuff like that, and it's like one line of like some old language, foreign language, and then just the English phrase, give me the power I beg of you, and then like the rest of the chant is like back to another foreign language. That's so weird. Like, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Like, they have a whole, like, why not just make the whole chant like the first line? Like, make it like a whole, like, it's a foreign language, it's an old voodoo, power, a curse, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But then just it just has the English phrase, like, I'm like, give me the power, I beg of you, just thrown in there for no reason. Like it really, it always kind of bothered me every time I hear that, like in any of the movies. It's like, really, like they had to throw that in there. Um, that TV Chucky on on the television, like the show that Andy watches, is more terrifying than the doll, dude. Like that is one terrifying suit that person is wearing on the TV show. Like that is a scary fucking dude. You know, that whole costume is terrifying. Like they should have had the movie revolve around that. They should have made it just a straight up slasher, and that would be the killer's look. Like just dressed in that big ass like adult sized Chucky fucking costume. Like, because that shit is scary, man. What a creepy fucking like. And kids watch this. Excuse me, and I'll get into that more about how crazy this whole good guys thing is. Um, the score in this movie is great. Like I love the score in this movie and all the films. Like they do a great job throughout this whole franchise with the music and the score and everything. The sound design, very good. But it, especially in this movie, for some reason, like the score in this movie always stuck out to me more than any other installment in the franchise. But very good on all those accounts. Um, Andy making breakfast for his mom, and like the toast is just completely like charred and burnt to a crisp, and like the cereal is like milk is dripping out of it and spilling all over the place. And then he takes like 20,000 calories worth of butter and puts it on the toast and dude, this mother should never leave this child alone, like ever. Are you serious? Like, and like we assume from seeing this and stuff, you know, she's a single mother and stuff. She works and everything. That like he's left alone a decent amount. Like she's not always with him. She can't be, but like she should be. Like because anything could happen to this kid from him being by himself. Like anything. Like she should never leave this child alone unless like unless she really just wants to go clubbing on the weekends again. Yeah, that's a dead child due to negligence joke, and hey, it's a classic. Not for everybody though, but that's fucking funny. Andy's performance in this movie. I mean, child actors, you see it all the time. Like bad for the most part, and there's so much bad acting from him in this movie. But what are you gonna do? I mean, it's a fucking child, dude. Like, and he's adorable. I mean, who doesn't love Andy Barclay? Everyone does. He's such an adorable little kid, and just you got to give it a pass. Like, you just have to give his acting a pass. Like in this movie, in Child's Play 2, and then the next time we see that actor is, you know, years and years later in the TV show, or Cult of, what the fuck am I even saying, bro? Cult of Chucky, when he has his little appearance and stuff in there. But yeah, the acting by him is just laughably bad sometimes. Like it just completely like over the top and overacting and just. But again, it's a kid. You can't really pick it apart. Do they ever mention what happened to Andy's dad, Karen's wife? I know that they have one line in this movie where Andy says to his mom that Chucky told him that he was sent down from heaven by his dad to be his best friend or something like that. So we know he died. But do they ever explore that? Like in the rest of, I gotta see now from in the next few days of rewatching the entire franchise back to back, like if they actually ever go into that and mention it. I don't remember them ever doing that, like, or saying exactly what happened to him. But I don't know. I always thought about that whenever I see this movie and stuff, and just seeing that it's just a, you know, single mom of Andy and stuff, and the father's not there. So I always wonder, like, what exactly happened to him? Like, he's dead, yeah, but like, how did he die? I don't know. Just an interesting thing that I've always thought to myself. Maggie doesn't know if she dated that homeless rapist peddler in the fucking alley. Like that's such a forced joke. Like it's so forced. like trying to be comedic with her, like with the street peddler, and then they buy the doll and everything. She looks back, she's like, I think I dated that guy and stuff. Like, it's just, it doesn't work at all, man. It's not funny. It's just like, really, like, you know, she doesn't remember if she dated this guy. And like, how long ago could that have been? Because like, he is not in good shape now. Like, and it seems like he hasn't been in good shape and been living on the streets for like a long while. So like, was she dating a homeless person? Like, is that the implication with that line, or just like she's just stupid? Like, I don't know. I've never understood that line. It's just so forced. It's not funny. It just doesn't work for me at all. Dude, this kid has a good guy helmet, cereal, a good guy PJ sneakers, good guy cake mix. Like, there has to be something done, man. Like, this kid is way too obsessed with this whole good guy thing. And he has all these things before even getting the doll. So it's like, why is this company like, wouldn't the doll be the first thing that you want to put out there? Like, it's based on this TV show is the whole implication. When we, in this first film, from like the first time you see this movie, that's the whole implication. Is like, it's like a Barney the dinosaur type thing, like TV show. So it's the good guys, and the first thing they do is not make a doll for everyone, all the kids who are a fan of the show and stuff, but they make fucking cake mix. Cake mix. Like, come on, really? That's so insane. That's absolutely crazy. That they made fucking sleeping, like shoes for sleeping, and cereal, and a fucking box of cake mix out of the good guy fucking lines and everything like that. And waited until after all that to make the doll and stuff. Like, it looks like they've had all those other items for a long while before this doll was announced on the TV. So that's just absolutely like insane. That's like certifiable. Like, if you imagine your kid has like, is so obsessed with a TV show that they have you buy fucking cake mix that relates to the show. Like, that's certifiable, man. That's fucking crazy. We get the cool little POV shots as Chucky runs around and everything. He's a fast motherfucker, man. Those POV shots are going pretty damn fast. Like, he's got some speed on those little doll legs. And then we get our first ever Chucky kill with Maggie when she's babysitting Andy. And it's a tense scene before she gets killed and stuff. Like, with her walking around the apartment and everything and hearing sounds, and she saw the flower knocked over, and like she's walking around slowly, and the music and everything. It's very tense for like a first watch though. Or like when this movie first came out and people, like, Chucky wasn't like a huge cultural icon like he is now. Like, anyone who hasn't seen Child's Play and goes to watch it for the first time nowadays, they know the doll is a fucking killer doll. Like, they know Chucky. Like, everyone has heard of Chucky and knows Chucky. So like, some of the tension and like the creepiness and to the scene, certain scenes in this movie don't hold up just because of how big this franchise got. But it like, looking, like I always say, I always try to watch movies and rewatch movies like it's the first time, like through new eyes. And when you watch it that way and stuff, it is a tense scene. And then we get the kill and stuff, and Chucky hits her with the fucking hammer in the head, and she crashes through the window and falls like 5 stories to her death, and she lands on the fucking car. The car explodes, and really cool. And like, you know, Chucky gets he gets a lot of shit. He's always referred to as the killer doll, the evil doll. What about the good things Chucky has done? What about the good things he's done for certain people? Because, yeah, I mean, awful that Maggie had to die so brutally and stuff like that. But we all know that someone got a new fucking car out of that. Someone absolutely got a new car. So, see, Chucky can do some positive things, all right? He can do something good for somebody else. even while he's murdering another. So Chucky gets like some bad fucking words said about him. He should be Chucky, the lukewarm evil doll, not straight up evil. He has some goodness in him. He can be giving when he wants to be. Um, the footprints on the counter and stuff like that. Yeah, it's such a weird scene, dude. Like with Norris asking like, "What are these?" to Karen and everything, and like obviously fucking footprints, and him saying afterwards that he checked all in the closet and checked all Andy's shoes and none of them match and stuff like that. And then Andy comes out with the doll and stuff, and like he doesn't notice the flower on the doll's shoes or anything like that. Like that doesn't make sense. Like that's just like that's ridiculous. And like the whole thing with the fucking Chicago PD in this movie is like the most incompetent police department ever in a movie. Like these people are absolutely ridiculous, and like apparently you can just stop a potential homicide investigation by just screaming and yelling at the detective to get out, and then they just up and leave. Like, like all right, like you want us gone, we're done here, I guess. Like this is a possible murder, but we probably got work here to do, but she doesn't want us here, so we gotta leave now. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. And man, it's fucking hot in this room. Like I don't know what it is. Fucking, it's like 3 in the morning too, so it's not like it's day out and it's hot outside. But this room always gets hot. But yeah, if you see me like sweating and shit, it's fucking hot, man, especially with lights and shit. But yeah, you can just yell at a detective and get rid of the whole homicide squad and everything, just like that. Like, like very very simple. After that, we always get the like any mother will remember in their life that classic moment when their son tells you that his doll's alive and that their best friend is a bitch and deserved what they got after they were murdered. And then the mom just says, "You want to sleep with me tonight?" Really? Like, really? Like, after hearing all that from your son, all the stuff about him being, the doll being alive and stuff, and talks to him and all this shit and stuff. And yes, I can't fucking speak tonight. I don't know what it is. Fucking children have imaginations and everything, of course. But he really, like, believes this doll's alive in her eyes and stuff. Well, I mean, we obviously know he is too. But, like, in her mind, like, this has to be crazy coming from her son, that this doll's alive and talks to him and stuff. And, like, immediately, and then just that whole added line about it, Maggie was a bitch and deserves what you got and stuff like that. Hearing that, dude, and then, like, she just says, "You want to sleep with me tonight?" I would have bolts on my fucking bedroom door if my fucking daughter said to me the things that he was saying to Karen. Like, seriously? Like, you're just like, all right, well, my son is obviously very unwell and could have possibly just killed my best friend. But, yeah, let's have him sleep next to me for the night while I'm sleeping and unaware of my surroundings. And like, come on, man, really? Like, that's so insane, too. Like, this whole good guy thing is, like, the biggest toy craze, like, ever. Like, with everything I said, with the cake mix and the fucking cereal and all stuff like that. And then when Andy goes to school with Chucky and everything, there's another kid with a good guy doll too, walking into the school and everything. So, like, this is, like, the biggest fucking enterprise ever. The whole good guy thing. Maybe until, like, fucking Furbies came along in the 90s. If anyone remembers Furbies, man, that shit was everywhere. Everyone had a Furby. And what a ridiculous idea that is for a fucking toy and stuff. But hey, it fucking sold like crazy, man. Those people made millions. And then Andy leaves his school, gets on a train, walks through like homeless village USA and to Caputo's house, and no one says a single word to this kid. Like, no one notices that he's alone. And he's just walking around without parents or anything, just with this fucking creepy doll. And, like, how did he even get on the train? Like, he has no money. He's a fucking, like, how old is he in this movie? Like 6 years old or like something like that. He's a fucking like little kid. He's got no money. He ain't getting on a train. Like, and then the ticket taker, he's gonna come like to take his tickets. He's not gonna say like who you here with, like where's your parents or anything. Nothing like that. All of that makes no sense at all, dude. Like none of that. That whole thing of him getting to Caputo's house just absolutely ridiculous. Makes no sense one bit. Like it's so insane. Then we have the whole scene with Caputo and stuff, and fucking we finally see Chucky, moving on his own and everything like that. But well, not exactly. Like we see him though, like leave the chair and stuff, and like POV shots again of him walking around, running around the house, and his hand turning the gas on and everything. Then fucking the house explodes from Caputo shooting and stuff. But yet, like, what if Andy like walked into that house? He was looking for Chucky, and he was literally like right in front of the house, like 2 seconds before this place exploded. Like Andy's dead. Like there's no way that he would have survived that. Like he was literally like right at the stairs leading up to the front porch, to the front door. And then like 2 seconds later is when Caputo fires his shot and the house explodes. So like Andy's fucking dead, dude. And that would have screwed up fucking Chucky's whole plan and stuff that he finds out later from the voodoo guy that he needs to tell he needs to transfer his soul into the first person he said who he really was to and expose his secret to, that he was alive and everything. So he took some chance fucking blowing that place up knowing Andy was right nearby, and Andy could have just been burnt to a crisp, man, and exploded, and Karen would be able to go clubbing again on the weekends. But that whole it's fucking ridiculous. And like I'm tearing this movie apart and shit, but I love this movie. Like I absolutely adore this movie and the whole franchise. Like I said, it's just so much fun. Like just picking apart these movies because they're just so fun. They're so over the top. The whole premise is ridiculous. Like everything. So this is going to be a fun few days, man, of going through this whole franchise again. And no one, like I said, with the whole Chicago PD and stuff, with the homicide department and everything, are just ridiculous. Like, they're just complete morons. And Mike, too. Like, fucking Norris is just as stupid. Like, no one in the Chicago PD puts two and two together after Caputo was found, his house has exploded or whatever. If that is even his house, and how did Chucky even know to find him there? Like, if that was his real house, it said on the news, like, earlier in the film, that Caputo escaped from jail and stuff. If that was his house, the cops would have been there and found him immediately. So it couldn't have been his house. So maybe it was like a safe house that him and Charles Lee Ray both used together and both knew about, and that's how he found him. That's the only thing in my mind that I can come up with. Because that's definitely not his house. Because the cops would have been all over that place. But no one puts two and two together that Caputo is found dead and this house has exploded. And Andy keeps talking about Chucky. And like Norris doesn't even know that Chucky was the nickname for Charles Lee Ray. He killed him in the toy store. Like, that's his case. Like he killed this guy like a few days before the events of this movie. Like, when we see the opening, it's only a few days that have gone by because they're talking about Ray's death and stuff on the TV. So it just happened a few days ago. And he doesn't know that Charles Lee Ray's nickname is Chucky and doesn't put two and two together. And he's talking about Chucky and like crazy and he's alive and stuff. And of course, I mean, he's saying the doll is alive, which no one is believing that, which I'll get to near the end here. But just that doesn't even sound a little suspicious that like the doll's name is Chucky, and they just found that Andy brought Chucky the doll to Caputo's house and now he's dead and stuff, and they don't put two and two together. Like, come on, really? Like, they're all that stupid in the Chicago PD. Like, that's ridiculous. That's so crazy. And we get the great scene, man. The whole scene when Chucky first actually comes to life with Karen and everything, and when she picks the box up to throw it out, and the batteries fall out, and she realizes there's been no batteries in this doll the whole time, and just that's a tense scene, man. Like even now, like rewatching it, it is so well done, that whole scene of her just slowly picking the doll up, and when first saying like "talk to me" and stuff like that and everything, and yelling at it, and then she finds the batteries and she opens up the thing and realizes there's no batteries in it. Then his head swirls around, and we get the iconic "Hi, I'm Chucky, wanna play?" Like, and then that whole scene, man, is just absolute brilliance. What a great scene. And we get our first, lines from Dorff as Chucky's voice and everything, which is, like I said, just phenomenal. His whole thing voicing Chucky from the very beginning and sticking with it through all these years, even now up until the TV series and everything. Just totally, absolutely iconic voice that this guy has. And just Dorff himself, like, he's an amazing actor. Like, everything that he's in, I absolutely adore Brad Dorff. Like, he's a fucking national treasure, man. Then, let's see. I think Karen telling Mike that Chucky's alive and stuff, and like I said, like, no one's gonna believe this. Ever. Like, no one will believe anybody telling them that a doll is alive and possessed by the soul of a serial killer that this cop just gunned down like a few days earlier. Even though she like makes some compelling arguments and stuff about saying how that he killed fucking Eddie, his old partner, and everything, and then he's gonna come after her, come after Mike and everything like that. And he just keeps saying, he's like, "All right, good night," I'm like, "Good night, Miss Barkley," like, "Good night," fucking, and ends up like driving away. But so she goes looking and stuff, and like that's not an alley. They mentioned earlier, like the peddler in the alley. That's not an alley. That's like a fucking like homeless city, like. There are so many homeless people in that alley. It's insane. And like she just happened to find this homeless person in Chicago, like that fast. Like he just knew he would be there. Like he has nowhere else to be. I mean, he doesn't. He's homeless, but I mean, like, they don't just stay in one static spot all the time. Like, they move around and shit. They still have things that they could do, but she just happens to just find him and he's there and everything. That's fucking crazy, man. What a dick Mike is for scaring the shit out of Karen at fucking Ray's house. And I say this all the time in movies and stuff, and like any movie that does this that I've covered and discussed on the channel, I always bring it up. When there's always a scene where just the main character or some character, whatever, is exploring someplace or looking around, and then some guy or some person who has no ill intentions, but he creeps up on them and just like, "Karen," and then like scares the shit out of people. Like, it happens so often in movies. Like, it's so tired at this point. Like, it happens so much. Like, I've only been doing the channel for like a month and a half or so, and I think there's maybe like 7-8 movies that I've done that I mentioned this in. Like, it happens so often, especially like in the 80s. Like, a lot of 80s slasher movies and like other 80s movies, horror films and stuff. It happens so much. And it's like, really? Like, these people are assholes. Who sneaks up on somebody that's exploring this serial killer's house after going through this whole traumatic shit with fighting off this evil alive doll, even though like Mike didn't believe it and stuff, but just creeps behind her, and like you see the shot, like he's standing behind her for like a good few seconds, and then just says her name and scares the living daylights out of her. Like, a fucking asshole, man. Like, who does this? Like, nobody. Like, no one does that. Like, that's absolutely crazy, and it always annoys me every time I see it in any movie, and it's in so many of them, and it's just always annoying. But and he doesn't open up immediately. Like, his first thing out of his mouth isn't "I believe you." After getting attacked in the car by Chucky and everything, he doesn't immediately, like, even like after the whole incident with Chucky in the car with Mike and everything, and Chucky leaves and stuff, the first thing he does isn't go to Karen's apartment, or at least call her and say like, "I believe you, like I saw it, like I absolutely believe you now." Nothing. Like, he just shows up at Ray's house knowing she'd be there. and then just starts mentioning that he went through the file for Charles Lee Ray and everything. And then again, and he says that his nickname was Chucky, and that he didn't know this. Like, he killed him. Like, this is like his case. He never read that file before. That's fucking insane. Are you serious? Like, that's what they're trying to say. Like, his whole ignorance on the Charles Lee Ray case and everything, even though he's the cop that shot him down and killed him, is just, you can't suspend disbelief that much. Like, it's just absolutely insane. Like, it makes no sense at all. And then, who has their own voodoo doll? Like, why? Like, why would anyone have their own voodoo doll of themselves? Like, voodoo is like a whole stigma against it and stuff forever. You know, evil and curses and hexes and stuff like that. And he has his own voodoo doll, John. For what reason? Like, you never make your own voodoo doll. Like, guys, never make your own voodoo doll. I mean, never make your own voodoo doll. Like, unless, like, you're really, really lonely. If you're not chuckling right now, then you have a terrible imagination. Let me just say that. But never make your own voodoo doll. Are you serious? Like, that makes no sense either. Like, there's so much stuff in this film that just makes no sense at all. Like, in the whole rest of the franchise. And it's amazing that for movies like this, that are just fun and over the top and completely nonsensical, could still be absolute classics in the horror genre. And it's one of my favorite franchises in horror. Like, I think that's so fascinating. That movies that can be picked apart so much like this for just having so much nonsensical shit in it are still classics to me and so many other people. And they're just fun, man. Like, this whole franchise is just a blast to watch. And just, again, like Chucky, just that character is just a blast. And so much fun to watch him on screen in all of these movies. So, what a great fucking franchise, man. Don't you love when people's last words, when they're like right about to die, happens to be like the really important vital information that you need, like right before they fucking die, and they happen to just get out that really vital information that you need to like save somebody or do something, or like it happens in so many movies that somebody's dying and shit, but they have to tell them something and stuff, and they never like, well, yeah, you have to. And just die. Like, you never see that. They always can get that last bit of the most important shit they have to say out of their mouth, and then they immediately die right after that. Like, and it happens here with John and stuff. It says, you know, save the boy. It's on his heart. Shoot him in the heart. That's the only way to stop him. And then he just fucking, he dies. Like, he was able to get that out. He survived long enough just to get that information out to Karen and Mike. That's funny. And there's the cool effects on like the ECT kill and stuff like that in the hospital, where Chucky puts the electroshock fucking collar or whatever around the guy's head and the doctor's head, and then just shocks the shit out of him and stuff, and like chars him to death, and like the effects look pretty good on it and stuff. There's not a lot of gore in this movie or anything, but like that looks pretty good. But like I don't know. Like, I don't know how ECT machines are made, but why would you even make them have enough power to like electrocute someone to like a charred corpse? Like why? Like, wouldn't there be like a maximum voltage that like it would absolutely never need to go over? Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert on electroshock therapy machines, but it just seems a little ridiculous that like, and you've seen this in a lot of movies and stuff where they use like defibrillators or like the ECT machines and stuff as kills in like slasher movies or other movies and stuff like that, and it always makes no sense to me. It's like, they really make this that powerful that like Like, what if somebody's new? Like, what if someone, like, is just a fucking evil person and they just, like, decide to turn the power all the way up and they fucking turn this thing on and it just fucking destroys their brain and fucking just electrocutes the shit out of them to death? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just another thing that that came to my mind while watching on this rewatch. I love the whole little when Chucky's in the elevator and the couple walks by and they're like, ugly doll, and he's just like, fuck you. Like, I mean, there's comedy in this movie and stuff, and like, you know, the one that didn't work early in the movie with Maggie with the peddler and dating him and stuff like that, but like, there's still funny shit in this movie. Like, people who say that like the first three are the serious ones, and then it just got insanely comedic as it went on. It did get a lot more comedic, absolutely, but these aren't serious films. Like, even the first three, they're just not. Like, there's so many ridiculous and funny things in this movie and the next two and stuff before Bride of Chucky and everything that is hilarious. Like, absolutely. Like, this whole franchise has comedy all throughout it. Then the whole end sequence and stuff is just excellent. Like, the whole ending with them getting to the apartment and stuff just in time, again, like always in movies, like just in time to save the day and stuff. Like, when Chucky's ready to like say like the last word or two of his little chant and stuff to transfer his soul into Andy, and then Karen takes him off of him, and that just everything about this whole ending. It's so well shot. Like, it's so well done, and just, I didn't even talk about just like everything with controlling Chucky and like the animatronics and the puppeteers controlling him, and like they even use like child actors and like in certain shots and stuff. Like the way that they brought Chucky to life in this movie was fucking very, very good. Like, they did such a good job for this first installment in this franchise, which, you know, at the time they didn't have plans for sequels or anything. This was just a one-off movie, but they really did a lot of good work with bringing Chucky to life, and just like fucking burning him in the fire, and he's screaming and everything, you know, while he's like just engulfed in flames in the fireplace, and then he gets fucking, they're shooting at him and he gets decapitated and all that, and then his body in the vent though, like when the other cop shows up and Nora specifically tells him not to touch the doll, and he walks out in the hallway and just the first thing he does is touch the fucking head of Chucky, like the charred remains of him and stuff. Like, immediately, first thing he does is fucking the exact opposite thing that Nora tells him to do. And he brings the head in and stuff, and then he just pops out of the vent, his body and stuff. Like, how did he get in there? How did the body get in there? That's so stupid. Like, as great as this ending is, like I said, this whole ending sequence and stuff, that's so dumb. They couldn't come up with anything better, like as a scare at the end and stuff. Like, he has to come out of the fucking vent in the wall. Like, I don't know the layout of the apartment or anything, so I mean, maybe it's plausible, but it's not. Like, it's just not plausible. It makes no sense. Then they finally shoot him in the heart and the blood sprays on the walls, and Chucky is dead. And, you know, too bad there'll never be another Child's Play movie. We get fucking like 6 others in a TV show and a reboot. And the whole thing at the end with like, who's going to believe them? I say this all the time. I've said it on the channel before with slasher films and stuff, saying how like you can't kill the killer at the end, because then you're the sole survivor and there's a fucking massacre around you and it's only your word. You're going to prison. Like, forever. And then I say, especially with supernatural shit, like with like Jason and stuff, he's a supernatural and like killer at that point, and same with Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, all that shit. But like, especially in a situation like this with Chucky, it's a doll. Who is gonna believe you? Even if it's all 4 of them, Andy and the mom and the 2 cops, Mike and the other guy, even all 4 of them, all saying and collaborating each other's stories and saying like, no, the doll was alive and stuff like that. They're being institutionalized for the rest of their lives. Like, that's the true ending for this movie. Like, when the credits roll and stuff, like, that's the after credit sequence that we never got. Like, they're all locked up in a fucking mental asylum for the rest of their days. because no one is going to believe them. Who would believe that? If I told you that this doll that I had in my house was alive and was going around killing people, and now we killed it, it's dead supposedly, you'd burst into hysterical laughter. Like, either that or you'd, after the hysterical laughter, you'd be like, this person is out of their fucking minds. Like, we need to get this person help. Like, immediately. And that's exactly what would happen. Like, all these supernatural movies and stuff with killer dolls or puppets or fucking anything like that. Anything that cannot be explained, or things that human beings just don't see with their own eyes and stuff. You can't talk your way out of that. Like, you're going either to prison or you're going into an institution. Like, there's no one who's going to hear you out. And I love that they play on that in at the end of Curse of Chucky with oh, what the hell's her name? I can't believe I can't remember her name. Nika. Yeah, that's it. With Nika and stuff, and at the end of Curse of Chucky and stuff, and she's saying that the doll did it and stuff, and she ends up in an institution and stuff. Like, and I was so happy when that movie came out that they played into that, because I always say that to myself every time I see a movie like this, and say, yeah, these people are going to fucking an asylum forever. Like, no one will believe them. But such a great movie, such a great opportunity to rewatch this, and it's going to be so much fun rewatching this entire franchise front to back over the next few days. I don't know, it's like 4 in the morning right now, so I don't know if I'll get Child's Play 2 up in the next few hours or anything. I'll probably watch it, and then like I'll do the video for it tomorrow in the late morning or something like that. But yeah, next will be Child's Play 2 as we continue down the line of the whole franchise. So alright guys, have a good night if I don't have the video for Child's Play 2 up in a little bit, in like a few hours. If not, like I said, I'll have it up in the morning. But everyone have a good night or morning wherever you're from, and take care.